So, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us your role?
Yes. My name is Sara Jansson. I am the senior producer of Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about Mirror's Edge Catalyst then.
So Mirror's Edge Catalyst, we see it as a rebirth of Mirror's Edge franchise. It's a game where you play as Faith, a cool runner in the City of Glass. It's a game where you use your parkour skills to navigate this big urban cityscape. And Faith is working as a runner, and she discovers a secret that will change the events of her life and the city forever. And as you progress through her story, you will learn more about the city and the corporations that are ruling the city with an iron fist, and you will rise to become kind of a heroine in the City of Glass.
So, the original Mirror's Edge was obviously a huge success, huge fans. Why do you think it's taken so long to bring Mirror's Edge back?
Well, the first Mirror's Edge, it came out 7 years ago now, 8 years maybe when we were releasing, and I think it's taken us a lot of time to just figure out, what do we want Mirror's Edge to be? We have sort of rebooted it, and we have a grander vision for the game. And really, it took some time as well for us to see, that there was a demand for this. It's sort of grown over time. People keep buying it, people keep asking for it. So it wasn't obvious when the first game came out, actually, that there would be a big demand for another game. But now everyone is, over the last couple of years, everyone's been getting questions all the time in interviews, like, when is the next Mirror's Edge going to come out? So we kind of decided it's worth giving it a shot, but if we do it, we really want to do it properly. We don't just want to do something small and half good. It needs to be something that's really, really great. So it took us some time as well to think about what does that need to be. And on top of that, of course, it takes some time to then go and make that. So here we are now, 7 years later, with something that we really believe is like fulfilling that vision of what Mirror's Edge should be.
And obviously this game is a prequel, so does it matter if people haven't played the original?
We really don't see it as a prequel, we see it kind of like a rebirth. So it doesn't lead up to the events of the first game, but it do tell Faith's backstory. It tells you not really how she becomes a runner, but more how she becomes a heroine or someone who actually cares about what's going on in the City of Glass. And it will also tell you, hints about what happened to her in the past and what has shaped her into who she is, because we really felt that we wanted to give players a better understanding of who she is and why is she doing what she's doing. So it's the same character, Faith, but it doesn't really lead up to the events of the first game.
So why do you think Faith is such a strong character and people get behind her?
I think it's because she's very unique in the sense that she doesn't need use guns or superpowers. She's just using her own physical body, and she's also someone who takes a stand and actually stands up for what she thinks is right. And I think that's pretty inspiring to people, including myself.
Tell us some of the challenges you've faced in creating Catalyst.
So one of the major differences from the old Mirror's Edge and Mirror's Edge Catalyst is that we have now opened up the environment so you can actually free roam the City of Glass, and instead of creating a number of linear levels, we are creating a huge city, and that's pretty challenging in itself, like designing a city, but especially since this is in Mirror's Edge, every object that you see in the world is a gameplay object. It's something that you can interact with and move on or use in some kind of way. It becomes really tricky on how you build those spaces that are fun to traverse in like multiple different directions, not just from A to B, but actually you can come in from any direction you want, and just making sure that that is fun. But when you do nail that, it actually becomes so much more rewarding. So what we had to do is to work really cleverly with how we work with level artists and level designers and get them to collaborate really tightly on each area of the city and each main mission. And it took some time for us to actually find that good way of working. But when we did, that's when we get those really, really tight missions and really, really good free roaming areas. And then the game is, at its best.
What did you guys use for inspiration for the game?
So it's a kind of futuristic city, but it's not really trying to be a real city that exists in our world. It's a fantasy city, but of course we're inspired by big metropolises with like cool futuristic buildings such as Tokyo, Dubai, Singapore, Shanghai. All of those cities act like inspiration of how they feel like very high tech in a way, but they also have a history, and that's something that's been really important to us with creating the City of Glass. We actually see it as one of the main characters of the game. So it has a personality and it has a history, and it's not only going to be those nice shiny facades. You're also going to get to visit the darker parts of the city and the older parts of the city, and go below the city into the tunnels, and so there's a lot more to learn about this city and understand as you play through the game.
And you mentioned obviously it's a large city. How big is it? Can you tell us?
It's difficult to say how big it is. I can say that, there's going to be a lot for you to do in this city, and there's a lot more gameplay time than, the first game. The story is bigger, the world is bigger, there's a lot more for you to do.
And there are no cutscenes or loading screens or anything like that. The game is just straight.
There are cutscenes that is telling the story, but no loading screens. You play through a mission, you go into a building and play the mission, you go out again and just free roam the city and into the next mission. So you're just fluidly kind of moving through this world.
So the game ships in February.
Yes.
What have you guys still got to do between now and then? Obviously, there's still several months. I'm sure there's a lot of work to be done.
So we're still pre-alpha, actually. So we're working to get everything in and everything to an alpha level. And when we do that, then it's all about polishing and perfecting the game for a couple of months.
It certainly looks good today, having seen it this morning.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. But, we've actually really focused on gameplay. So what you've seen now and what you've seen on E3 is like the parts of the game that we've taken the furthest. But there's also, a whole big city to be finalized, and we actually, it was pretty interesting how we built the whole city in white box, so you could actually play basically the whole game with the city just being a white box. And that's really important because of this collaboration I talked about earlier. It takes so much time to finalize something, so we need to make sure that it really plays really well and fluidly before we go in and make sure that everything looks beautiful and pretty.
And finally, why should people want to play Mirror's Edge Catalyst?
Because it's a very different experience. If there's so many games out there that are really great, but a lot of them quite similar to each other, and I think that Mirror's Edge really provides something that is different and unique in this space. And
what formats and when is it being released?
So it's being released here in Europe. It's I think February 25th on PC, Xbox One and PS4.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Why not subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the link on the screen now.